We've got a recipe brewing right now for a massive short squeeze on Bitcoin, and when it hits, it could trigger a hard and fast move to the upside, wiping out everyone that's aggressively shorting this market right now. And trust me, folks, there is a lot of them. In today's video, I'm going to break down exactly what a short squeeze is, what causes it, and why we can see this setup clear as day right now in the charts. My name is Paul Sampson. Welcome back to DataDash. Now, before we continue, folks, I want to take a moment and talk about one of the smartest ways to protect and grow your crypto long term, especially as the market cycle continues to heat up here. If you're someone who believes in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the major digital assets for the long run, you have to understand how powerful a crypto IRA can be. With iTrustCapital, you can buy, sell, and trade crypto within a tax-advantaged retirement account, meaning that your gains can grow either tax-deferred or even tax-free, depending on whether you choose a traditional or Roth IRA. And unlike a standard brokerage account, every trade you make inside your IRA does not trigger a taxable event. So you're keeping more of your profits working for you over time. And if you already have a 401k or an IRA sitting idle somewhere, iTrustCapital makes it seamless to roll it over into crypto. They're the largest and most trusted crypto IRA platform in the United States with a 5-star rating on Trustpilot and US-based support team that actually picks up the phone when you call them. For those of you focused on security, iTrust also offers their Premium Custody Account, or PCA, a closed-loop system designed to keep your assets protected from hacks and scams. Your funds can only move between your verified bank account and iTrust, nowhere else. This is the same institutional-grade custody framework used by major firms like BlackRock and MicroStrategy, but accessible to everyday investors through iTrust. So if you're serious about building long-term wealth in crypto and want to do it in a way that's both tax-efficient and secure, check out iTrustCapital. And here's the best part, folks. When you sign up today using our code DATA-8, that's DATA- the number 8, all one word, you'll receive $100 from iTrust to jumpstart your investment. It's a perfect time to get positioned for the next leg of this cycle and do it in the smart way. So be sure to visit iTrustCapital.com or use the link down in our descriptions below to learn more. All right, folks, for about the last 2 weeks here, right? So dating back to the beginning of October and really the end of September. So this was about a week and a half ago, right? Going back into the weekend of September 28th. We went sideways, basically. Then we had this huge move to the upside, basically just a straight move. It was a 15% move, give or take, from low to high, right? So 16% from the ultimate low to the high here of 108,000 to 126,200. Now, yes, we've since had a little pullback here. So far, only showcasing about 4%, giving up of that entire 16% move. And personally, I still target this region down below us before we get the next sizable bounce. And when I mention sizable bounce here, folks, I'm thinking that we see almost the exact same move that we got just about 10 days ago, right? Where we saw that 15% move to the upside. It was just a straight line, essentially just wiping out anybody that was short, right? So like, again, we look back into the price action and we had almost the same setup here where we look back, you had the previous high, you came up and you took it. Then we started dropping here as we went into the middle of August. And what happens here? Everybody gets very bearish. Everyone is very aggressively trying to call the top of this market and very schemish, and seeing that that we're coming to the end of the 4-year cycle and all these things align, and it's just a time where everyone is trying to short this market, get out at the top and all that good stuff, right? And I know that when I use the term everyone, it's not truly every single person in the market, but it's a good bunch, okay? So there's a lot of people that this time around, it's crazy, right? If you've been in this crypto market specifically, the 4-year cycle and all these things, the years ago in 2021 when we were topping off, it was quite the opposite, right? Not that many people were looking to exit the market, short the market. Everybody expected exponentially higher. So obviously years have passed and people are starting to, get a little bit better at, some of the tactics and the skills. But right now, I just truly contrarian side of me, along with just the experience I've had in this market. And we have some information I'm going to show you here in a second. Just truly lead me to believe that we are loading up yet again another short squeeze, which a short squeeze, folks, is just the amount of people that are, coming into this market and they're short. There's always a longing and shorts. People are coming in with leverage. People are coming in and buying and selling this market at any point in the day. And realistically, you don't want to be coming in and buying fresh or long. The risk management here is obviously a little skewed in the sense of where do you want to come in and buy heavily at $120,000 Bitcoin, or would you rather be looking for a pullback in shorts? And truthfully, that would be the better, of the two evils. But timing is still of an essence here, and a lot of people are not patient enough, and a lot of people do not know what they're doing, to be honest. So a short squeeze is literally just when you have a ton of people shorting the market gets a little bit of a pullback, to kind of validate their strategy. They're feeling good. They're going to add to their shorts. Everybody starts getting cocky and egotistic, and then only for nobody to take profit because the market only pulls back a few percent. And while they're doing their victory laps for a day or two, the market completely reverses, completely round trips those shorts, and then blasts through where they entered at, essentially stopping them out, liquidating them, and that adds fuel to the price continuing higher because at that point everybody's sell orders turn into purchase orders, and then of course people revenge trade, and it's a huge thing, right? So all week long I've kind of highlighted this setup where we would probably take the high here. I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical even at the time here. I did not take this short personally, which is what it is, right? But I was looking to see if we'd come and reclaim this region. And the reason I did that was because even at that point, right, even at this level up here, we could see in this third-party software here called ExoCharts, this is where we can see what's known as the order flow, the delta, the open interest, right? You can see all these things basically behind the scenes. And this is a software that was not even available to the public until like 2018. It's definitely a little advanced in the sense of trying to read it and trying to gauge it, right? So, but it's helpful in many ways if you start to understand it and utilize it properly. So even when we were trading down here about 10 days ago, right, this was $108,000. Now for me, I had other reasons why I was bullish at this point anyways, looking for this pullback to come right into this region. As you all know, we were looking for 108,200, right? It was our most notable area. I think it front ran that just by 0.2% and took off, right? But overall, the idea was that I was bullish at least, and that at least if I don't enter a short-term position on this, it helps me to not aggressively try to short every rise here, because at that point, you're just doing yourself a disservice. So you have to look for the next best opportunity. So not only at that low area over the weekend of September the 28th, again, when we approached $117,000, I'd noted that we had what's known as bullish absorption. So it's like bullish divergence essentially, but it basically shows the delta, which I'll cover here in a second, but it's a tug of war between the longs and shorts, meaning that at any point in this market, we're getting, again, like I said, longs, shorts entering the market, and there's the delta, which is going to showcase which of the two is stronger at that point, right? So which one is winning. Now, there's several different ways that you want to kind of encounter and interpret this information, but generally speaking, when the delta, meaning that basically the shorts are overpowering the longs, when that is pushing down heavily, but the price action is not making new lower lows, meaning we're making higher lows, that is essentially similar to just a normal bullish divergence, but that is a clear as day. That's people in this market entering right then and there, showing that their short positions are being filled and they're not able to push the price down. And a lot of times that's because a sizable player, be it a hedge fund, be it a market maker, they're basically absorbing those short positions, right? And they're building I always say they're building a fat long. And I try to give these warnings as much as possible, as much as I can see them, at least in the Discord here. Again, this was the most recent one on the 1st of October, where I was posting that, again, if we flipped 117, this thing can fly. We went another about $10,000 as soon as we did flip that. So caution was warranted with shorts, right? Because everybody wanted to short at that point. There was the other one weekend before when we were at the 28th. And right now, folks, we are showcasing the exact style of absorption here, right? So again, showing that the price action here. So this is, again, the 28th of September when we were trading at 108,000. We got a nice rise to the upside, but this is the delta. So the long and shorts, basically tug of war on each other, and the shorts are winning, which means that most people are shorting this entire move to the upside, right? Revenge shorts. Everybody missed the move. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's thinking the bull run is over. Then we took the high the other day, and again, shorts came in. Yeah, we got a small pullback. Really wasn't anything. You got a 16 move up, a 16% move up, and a 4% pullback. And you'll note here still, we are yet to make any, sizable lower lows, realistically all the way back to 108, but let's just, kind of look at this in a general speaking. And the delta is still just falling off of a cliff. So what that tells me is that everyone right now is entering and aggressively shorting this market right now. And I say, again, the term everyone is loose. I know that not every single person is, but there's just a lot of leverage right now. And that's actually only one exchange that's just off of Bybit. But generally, if we went through the rest of them, I'm sure they look about the same. But you can see there too on the entire move up, even when you go down into the orders themselves, it's just nothing but shorts along that entire move up. Obviously, people have been stopped out along the way, and not everybody's had a 16% stop loss window or liquidation. Usually, like I said, that type of setup will end in a sizable move to the upside. So it doesn't mean that we can't see a little bit more pullback as we go into the weekend maybe, or even as we begin next week. Again, I'm really heavily targeting this like $119,000 region. I don't want to put an exact dollar on it, but that area. So that could be 118.5, that could be 120, 500, whatever the case is. In that little window, I'm really paying attention here because there's a lot of things that align there. And on top of that, again, with the idea, the psychology of people that are shorting this market, thinking that the top is in, they shorted the all-time high, we're ready for the bear market, right? If they get just a little bit more of a downside action, a couple more percent, again, cockiness will take place. Nobody's going to be taking profit on a 5% move, to the downside when they think they just shorted the all-time high. And again, there's a market maker behind the scenes right now that is just building a fat long, more than likely going to take out everybody in this region. And with that being said, I do fully imagine whether or not it's just going to happen straight away from now. Like, this was close enough to my zone that, it's, you're pinching pennies here, but currently I still do see the world where we come down, take this little low, because again, there's longs coming in here too. You got to wreck the longs, last second. But ultimately, I really, really like this box. And again, it's comprised of the 382, which is generally we see a really strong move. You don't get a deep retrace. You usually get a shallow one to the 382, see continuation. Again, it's only a 5% total fall. I've given this a little bit more wiggle room just to the downside, just in case we wick through. And there's, a couple of moving averages that are stacked here, like basically right at 118.5, 118.9. Ultimately, though, folks, if this short squeeze kicks off, this is where we could see a hard, just like we saw right here. That was true blue short squeeze material right there, right? So again, everybody that shorted, which I highly doubt many shorted when we were actually right at this point. They probably waited until price action got down to here, and then everybody's like, okay, we just swept the high, it's time to short. So everybody's short here, stop loss above the high, if that's even something that they did. They get this nice move down, right? Again, they're looking for a huge move down, so nobody's taking profits on this. They get scared probably a little bit as we got this rise up. They're feeling good again. They're chilling. They're going to sleep thinking that, all right, this market's about to nuke, and only to just get completely wiped out. So that style move is what I'm anticipating we get, something along that line. Whether it's from where we are now, again, I'm looking for a little 3% move, and if not, it's most likely already been put in, right? But ultimately, the idea here is that we head higher here, most likely in the coming days, and pretty aggressively. So as this potential short squeeze builds, remember that volatility can cut both ways, folks. And the key is having a plan before the move happens. So these kinds of setups are where experience and preparation makes all the difference. And if you're thinking long term, not just about the next trade, but about actually building wealth through crypto, make sure to check out iTrustCapital. Their crypto IRAs let you trade and invest tax efficiently while keeping your assets secure. And if you use our code DataDash8, you'll receive $100 from iTrust to jumpstart your account. And for those who want deeper analysis, chart setups, and education like this every week, head on over to datadashpro.com. That's where I post all my market updates, trade setups, and our full educational library for members. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next update. Until then, everybody, cheers.